The United Nations Population Fund, in collaboration with ILLMI Children's Fund, has organized a 3-day training for teachers and counselors at the Federal Capital Territory to raise the awareness on the menace of sexual and gender-based violence, causes and possible ways of how to curb SGBVs in schools across the FCT and in Nigeria. The training is said to be an integrated intervention to address schools-related gender-based violence, where schools from FCT were in attendance and to brainstorm on how to put an end to the scourge of SGBVs and support survivors, as well as fashion ways out to prevent future occurrence of the sexual and gender-based violence both in schools and outside the school environment. The organizers and participants at the event shared their various thoughts on sexual and gender-based violence as the government is urged to create an open environment to end the scourge of SGBVs.
Adolescent Safety in All Spaces project, ACES. And it's an integrated intervention to address both school-related gender-based violence and technology-facilitated gender-based senior and the junior secondary schools. That's about 20 schools. And what we intend to achieve is to build their capacity in supporting students that have gone through abuse, as well as prevent abuse that could happen both on-site in terms of school and supporting the government. So one, the government can do policies, policy-wise, talking about society. They can do policies and laws like the VAP Act, for example, Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, that has been passed by most states and the federal government, so that's the government doing something. I know the government has taken steps around digital violence, and there are people that have been prosecuted for that. So yes, the government can handle on policy. In terms of awareness creation, like partnerships like this, capacity building for teachers, most of them have never heard about that. They don't even know how to go about addressing it. Like talking about psychological first aid, disclosure of violence, all of those things are processes that hurt the person. So you need to know, and then you need your capacity to be built. That's not something that a regular school or a teaching college can do. That's why we are partnering with the government, and good, that's what the government can do. Open their doors, welcome those partnerships, and which of course the Secondary Education Board for FCT as well as the Universal Basic Education Board. The project is supposed to spiral into setting up GBV clubs where the students themselves can be peer educators to other students to sensitize them, as well as refer them for other special interventions.
Now behind this program is that a lot of things are happening around us. Most often we hear stories of how kids are molested, and at times these things just end up being stories, which is what we're trying to prevent. We do not want it to just be stories. We're trying to provide an atmosphere where our kids, both male and female, feel safe. That the problems that they're going through, they have a safe space, they have teachers who are trained. It's part of what we're telling these teachers. When a child comes to you, there are certain procedures that you're supposed to follow before in assessing their case and providing help to them. So we're also letting them know that this shouldn't just be just, it's not something you tell your fellow teacher, oh, you know this child, so and so happened to them. These are some of the wrong practices that we're trying to stop. And we also have some PTA chairpersons here because some of these problems start from the home. So, and these PTA chairpersons, they have a role to play. They often have meetings among themselves. We want them to also educate themselves, their fellow parents, on how to be intentional about their children, be attentive, be sensitive to your child when they come home, ask them questions, engage with them. Don't be that kind of father that your child runs away from you. Get close to your children and build a relationship. That way, whenever they are passing through something, they will be comfortable enough to approach you, to relate whatever it is that they are passing through, and then you can take it up from there.
Because we thought at first, we thought that it was only when a girl child is raped that you can now conclude that there have been an abuse. But there are other, we are learning now that there are other aspects about these GBVs. It could not only be rape, it could also be this other violence like denial of access, denial of rights, privileges that ought to have been to that child, so many forms of denial. Then the issue of the child being threatened, either a boy child or a girl child, because sometimes we're always focusing on the girl child, but we are now being taught that the boy child too is also in an endangered species, because they are the ones that are not, they are quickly overlooked. So there are a lot of things that we are now saying that the boy child too needs to be protected. We're also learning that we need to create a very safe environment where they can be free to be able to come to you. You that you are the maybe the caregiver, because I'm a parent. So as a parent, as a caregiver, what kind of space do you create for your young ones? Can they easily talk to you, or are you the type that shut them down? They are trying to reach you. They're trying to, those signs that we are taught. A girl not, or a child not being comfortable to go to this uncle's place or that uncle's place may be a sign that something is going on. Being able to read in between the lines. Sometimes they may not be able to say, because we also learned that a child is from 0 to 17. So a 4-month-old child, 5-month-old child, 1-year-old child may not be able to say everything. But those signs that we are taught, behavioral patterns that begin to change, that should begin to, it's not all of them, of course, we know that are pointing to an abuse, but there's no harm if you decide to check, if you decide to take your time as a parent, because it's very important that we create that safe environment where our children can freely
Some
express.
certain things that a counselor, a gender officer is supposed to give a survivor. That is listening ear, tolerance, confidentiality, humbleness, and other things that the survivor needs to have assurance that everything will be in confidence. Now, how the government should impact into these gender violence issues? The policies should be enacted and should be implemented. And for the perpetrators, action must be taken on them. If they are found out, they must be handled the way others will see and will not be the perpetrators again. Any imam will not succumb to this gender violence based violence on any child, either a boy or a girl. So the problem is from the community and the parents. The leader, the bishop or the imam may be able to do something, but the parent may shut him down because they don't want their image to be tarnished. Don't want the family name to be dragged upon. That is why sometimes, even if they want to take up, they will cool it down at that level. But if there is much awareness, the parents, the community, the leaders, the religious leaders will take it up.
Environment, what they've let us know is safe space. Stigma in Africa that when you start sex education on time to your children, you are exposing them into sexual danger. It's actually the reverse. As parents, whether the mom or the dad, both of them, they are at liberty to call either of their sexes or gender, either of their gender, to say, look, these are the realities. Early in life, early, maybe by the time they get to basic 5, they are going to basic 6, going to JSS1. At that level is a ripe age to get them exposed into, all these sexual realities. Then you let them know, build self-esteem in them. Poverty has made parents now to actually degrade the humanity in their children, because a child, that is subjected to child's labor, because the parents cannot do what? The parents cannot meet up with the basic needs of that child. You subject that child first and foremost to child labor. You've gone a long way to degrade the value of that child. You understand? So when you understand that poverty is a factor.
I'm being opportunity to be a participant in this workshop today. I have lots to take home. From what we learned here, we got to understand some causes of gender-based violence, problems and prospects. There are lots. The PT can also come in to help in trying to curb some of these challenges in school. There are lots of functions. The role of PTA will actually come into play where there's need for parents to assist in renovating some lapidated part of the buildings. These are avenues where some of these things can take place. So being the PTA chairman, I will send down this message home to the school management. I will put heads together to see how the PTA can come in to help in the community level. If there's need to sensitize parents during the PTA meeting, do that in order to at least curb or to minimize the rate of this gender-based violence.